Good evening, everybody. Welcome again this Friday when the She Chooses to Live takes the platform to educate people matters reproductive health. So we are here again, being sent over by She Chooses to Live Initiative, which is an organization that believes that knowledge is power and that everybody needs to know, to have knowledge, especially about themselves and about their bodies. And women have very hidden and shy ideas about their bodies. So we like to kind of expose them and make sure that people understand what their bodies are all about and be able to seek help when things go wrong. To my left here is my tech guy. She's called Marion Wakahe. She is really technical in that she puts me online and keeps me there and then removes me from online. And without her, believe you me, I wouldn't be able to talk to you. So she is teaching me though. In time, I'll know how to log myself on. But right now, it's her job to do that. And my name is Dr. Jane Wakahe. I am also part of the She Chooses to Live initiative. And I believe a lot in people having knowledge about themselves and about especially matters reproductive. As I'm a gynecologist by profession, so I like I'm geared more towards reproductive health. I also have knowledge in public health, and those two combined, that's what makes this an interesting platform. And I hope you people do get something out of it. And I would wish to have very, very many questions so that I know that you are getting some things. If you don't ask, I may imagine that nobody's getting anything worthwhile. So this day we are going to discuss an interesting topic. It's not going to be long today. Don't worry, you'll not go very hungry. We're going to discuss a topic called vaginal discharge, or rather discharges through the reproductive system. And that's what we are going to discuss today. A lot of people don't know that anything much about the discharges, or I hear a lot of questions about what is sometimes just normal discharge. So we're going to expose a little about what is normal, what is abnormal, what is to be expected, when, and then at the end of it, you can all ask your questions and you can all have an input. So let's start. Vaginal discharges. What is a vaginal discharge? It's a liquid that passes through the vagina. My tech guy is setting me up. My tech guy is centering me up. Is that better? Okay. So let's talk discharge, vaginal discharge. And we also talk urethral discharge because men don't have a vagina. They can only discharge through the urethra. So we'll talk the both discharges. Now, first thing to say about a vaginal discharge is that it is normal for all women of reproductive age to have a vaginal discharge. It's a liquid that comes through the vagina. It usually flows by gravity, and it is supposed to be there. It is supposed to be there as long as somebody is in the reproductive age. In fact, it starts like a year before even puberty, before the first period happens. A girl starts to discharge, and then it goes on all the way until menopause. Somebody is having a discharge, and that is normal. What is that discharge made of? It's made of a liquid. It is made of some cells, body cells that are dead cells, and it's also made of bacteria that live in the vagina. And this is the liquid is produced by both the cervix and the vagina, and some glands there that produce some liquids, some glands like Bartholin's gland. So it's a liquid, it's a mixture of many sources, but mainly it carries out cells and bacteria, dead cells and bacteria that are found in the vagina. And what is the purpose of this discharge? One of the most important purposes is lubrication, especially during sexual intercourse. There is need for lubrication, so that discharge serves that purpose. The other thing is that it is a clearing system. The vagina is auto-cleaning. It doesn't need your help to clean it out. Once it has dead cells and it has dead bacteria, then the discharge throws them out. So it's a clearing system. And the other thing is that it protects the vagina against some minor infections. It cannot protect one against like sexually transmitted diseases, but it can protect one against something like yeast infection. So it's a useful thing. It helps you to lubricate. It cleans the vagina itself, and it helps to protect against infection. Now, what does a normal discharge look like? A normal discharge is either clear, or it is white in color, or it can even be slightly off-white. We shall discuss when it is supposed to be off-white. And like I said, all women in their reproductive age, they get that discharge. So it is a normal discharge. Now we're going to describe a woman, there we go, a woman's cycle, 1 month woman's cycle, so that we know how to follow these discharges for ourselves. A cycle of a woman, we begin it at the first day of the period. So starting from day 1 of seeing a period, then for about 2 to 8 days in normal people, then there will be the blood coming out of the vagina. So that's the first discharge that we talk about. That is menstruation, blood through the vagina during menses for 2 to 8 days, which is a normal thing. After that bleeding comes a whitish discharge, which is like flowing like milk. It sort of flows like milk. And it can sometimes be a little thick, but mainly it flows, and it will last like for about a whole week with that kind of discharge. Then, right thereafter comes what is called ovulation mucus or ovulation discharge. Now, this discharge is a bit different from the others. One, most women will tell you that they felt it come out. They felt it pass through, they could feel something coming out of their vagina. It is a clear discharge that is stretchy. You can pull it without breaking. The way thick mucus from the nose, you can pull without breaking. So it is clear. It may even have streaks of blood on it. So it could be clear, it could have streaks of blood alongside, not spots, but lengthwise along the discharge. There could be a bit of blood. It's quite slimy. If you put it between your 2 fingers, it's very, very slimy, very, very slimy indeed. And you feel that it is how shall I say? It is like a snail. It's something that is slimy like a snail. When one is getting that discharge, it lasts about 2 to 3 days, and as few times one is accompanied by a pain in the lower abdomen. That pain is usually when the egg is being released. When people are being told to use safe days or to time ovulation for pregnancy, that's the time that they time the ovulation. and that's the mucus discharge. Now, if you were to look at that discharge at the microscope, it's a very, very special discharge, that ovulation discharge. It looks like many thicker superhighways, many of them, and they don't cross each other. They are very, very parallel straight lines, and that is to enable sperm to swim through, because this mucus is specifically made to allow sperm to swim through easily to meet an egg that is coming out. So this mucus, if somebody was to look into a woman's vagina when they are ovulating, then you find it is hanging out of the cervix, literally hanging out, waiting for the sperms to land and to show them the way to go and catch their mate, who finally becomes a baby. Now, this discharge, once it gets onto the panty, once it is oxidized, once it is in contact with air, then it turns a bit yellow. So you can have a yellowish discharge, and when it stays a little bit, it dries out. So it's like flaky yellow discharge, and that tells you that ovulation has happened. Now, after this ovulation discharge, and at that very time when there is ovulation discharge, is when one is in what is called estrus, or a very, very high libido. And that's the time you hear that I had sex only once and I got pregnant, because at that time a woman is basically on heat when they have that discharge. Now, after that discharge comes a second discharge, another discharge now, which is now white. It is thick. And this is sort of to block the sperms from now, further sperms trying to swim through. The superhighways of Thika and everywhere else have been removed, and now we are blocking the sperms from accessing. So they'll just reach the vagina and usually just come out again. So this second discharge lasts maybe about 10 days, and then finally we go back to menstruation again. So let's recap. We have a period, then we have a white discharge that is flowing. Then we have an ovulation mucus that is stretchy and long and very, very slimy, and which you can feel it is coming out. And then we have another whitish thick discharge, and that one is lasts about 10 or so days. And then finally we go to ovulation again, to menstruation again. And we see blood again. So the cycle goes like that, Now, who does not follow this pattern, the pattern of it's blood, it is white discharge, it is mucus, it is like that, the one I've just explained. And the people on hormonal contraception do not follow this pattern. Reason being that the hormones are changed when one is on hormonal contraception, whether it is the pill or whether it is the implants. The hormones are changed and there is no ovulation at that time. So the discharge is sort of uniform throughout. The other people who don't get this are people who have issues with ovulation. For example, people with polycystic ovarian syndrome, because then their pattern cannot change like this. And then the people who are pregnant will not get that pattern of discharge. So let's get this, that a normal discharge is white. I want to repeat this many times because people get worried that they are getting a discharge. A normal discharge is white. It is not itchy. It does not smell bad. In fact, it smells woman. It doesn't smell bad at all. It smells woman. And unless somebody is not hygienic, unless somebody is not bathing themselves very well, in which case they smell down there. If they are nicely cleaning themselves, then they will not smell any bad discharge. They will smell woman. Now, when is this discharge more? The way we talked about, and this discharge is more in pregnancy. A pregnant woman discharges a lot, and sometimes they are so wet, one wonders if it is the baby's water amniotic fluid that is coming out. But you check and you find it's just a lot of discharge. Pregnant woman's vagina really discharges a lot. And the other people who have a lot of discharge are people who are wearing a coil, who are using a coil, what is called an IUCD, intrauterine device, for family planning, because the uterus is sort of trying to clear out that foreign body, and there's marked discharge. But it should be clear. Even when one has a coil, it should be clear. It should not be itchy, and it should not be smelling bad. Now let's talk about abnormal discharges, because there are abnormal discharges. Now, an abnormal discharge is a different color. It's not white. It is sometimes yellow. It is sometimes gray. It is sometimes green, or it is sometimes brownish in color. And the smell is foul, and the consistency is not flowing. It can be lumpy or clumpy or not flowing at all. So that's an abnormal discharge, and it tends to be a lot of discharge. Now, there are several causes of these abnormal discharges. I think we talked about them another day here. We talked about the genital tract infections and discharges. But just to recap again, some of the causes are like one of them, the commonest cause is something called bacterial vaginosis. And this causes the abnormal discharge in about 40 to 50% of all abnormal discharges are caused by bacterial vaginosis. What this means is that the normal bacteria in the vagina, which are called lactobacilli, have somehow been overtaken by gram-negative bacteria. And these ones tend to give a very nasty fishy smell, and they change the kind of environment that we have, which is very nicely acidic. We are given lactobacilli to keep us acidic, but when we get what is called a change from lactobacilli into the gram-negative bacteria, mainly the ones from the poo, and another one called Gardnerella. If we get that one, then we get a very fishy, a lot of discharge. It is gray. It is very fishy smelling, not a nice smell at all. And a woman will know that something is abnormal. Now, this is not a sexually transmitted problem. I want to say right here, it's usually not a sexually transmitted problem. It is just for some reason, there is a change of flora, a change of the bacteria that are inhabiting the vagina. And some of the things that are associated with these changes that would cause bacterial vaginosis are the overuse of antibiotics. If we take a lot of antibiotics, then we tend to kill the bacteria, the good bacteria in our system that are called lactobacilli. And then they will be replaced, because the nature doesn't like vacuum. So they will be replaced by others which are gram-negative, which are no good at all. The other thing that is associated with it, and ladies, please note this, is douching, cleaning the vagina. You are not supposed to clean the vagina. I said from the beginning that the vagina is auto-cleaning. Do not clean inside the vagina, just clean outside. If you douche, then you change both you remove the good bacteria and you change the pH of the vagina. So it is that you get yourself open to having other bacteria come and invade the vagina, which is not a good thing. The other one associated with this bacterial vaginosis is if somebody is wearing a coil. Sometimes this is associated with it. But the one I want us to note mainly is when we block air from entering the vagina. And this I've seen so much with many people, that when they are getting a normal discharge, instead of letting it come out into the vagina, into the panty, through the vagina, onto the panty, they'll be wearing a panty liner. Now, if you happen to keep wearing a panty liner at all times, what you are doing is you are blocking air, you are blocking oxygen from entering the vagina, and that will make one grow the gram negative, the bacteria that like anaerobic bacteria that like to inhabit where there is no oxygen. So please do not change your vaginal flora. I tell women to just let the discharge come out. They soil their panties 3 months later, throw it away and buy another one, because you will need to soil your panty. Otherwise, you are going to be blocking if you are keeping your panty clean, and yet you are damaging your inside cell. So that is a bacterial vaginosis, which is, like I said, not a sexually transmitted infection, but it can be very, very irritating, and it can cause other issues. I think we discussed them the other time. The other one that causes an abnormal discharge is a yeast infection. Yeast, literally every woman will have yeast at some point. It is associated with high estrogens of whatever nature. Is it the pill? Is it the pregnancy? And generally, we again, if we remove the good lactobacilli from the system, then we make ourselves open to yeast infection. But yeast infection is literally almost everybody is going to get a yeast infection at some point in their lifetime. But again, it is associated with a lot of intake of antibiotics, which again changes the flora, the bacteria that live in the vagina. It is also associated with diabetes because of the very, very high sugar that diabetic women are having in their system. So anybody with uncontrolled diabetes will usually suffer from yeast very, very many times. It's associated with immunosuppression. Anybody with low immunity of whatever reason, they'll tend to get it. And in pregnancy, and this is twofold. One is that the immunity is a bit down, and two is that the estrogen is so high, the vagina goes super acidic. And then when it goes super acidic again, that becomes a problem in that the yeast keeps overgrowing. So the excess estrogen in pregnancy will make somebody get yeast. So if you get yeast in pregnancy, kindly do not think that your husband is bringing it to you. It is not a sexually transmitted problem. Now, the discharge of yeast is itchy. It is white in color, and it looks like maziwalala, like curdled milk. Some lumps. And it smells. It actually smells fermented, like fermented milk. It is quite. Sometimes you may not even have the discharge, but you have the soreness and the itch, and then one needs to be able to have it treated. I think I've said on this forum that we do not treat yeast to cure. We treat yeast to control, to let the body be able to fight it again. We do not ever cure yeast, because you cannot cure yeast during reproductive age. It is there, but when you feel it, it has overgrown. It's not that it has come from anywhere else. It has just overgrown its system. Now, the other cause of abnormal discharges that is not sexually transmitted issues are foreign bodies. Actually, foreign bodies. Suffice it to say, I've had to remove several tampons that were forgotten in the system for more than a month. And you can imagine the kind of smell that was coming out of those kind of women. There is even a few times when things like condoms get forgotten in there, and then there's a lot of discharge. Some people, I don't know how it happens, but toilet paper finds its way in there, and then there is quite a lot of discharge, which is very, very foul smelling. The good thing is that once those foreign bodies are removed, then the discharge goes. But the bad news is that by the time we get to remove the foreign body, one may have had the infection climb up their uterus and gone and blocked their tubes. So please, when you are on periods and you're going to use a tampon, I've said in this forum before that if you're going to use a tampon, you change it very many times. You change it very, very frequently so that you don't hold dead blood inside your vagina. But even having said that, at the very end of the period, kindly make sure you have actually removed your tampon, because I have removed many, not a few, quite a number of forgotten tampons. So those are the things that will cause abnormal discharges. That is not a sexually transmitted problem. But then we have the other problems of sexually transmitted issues. This one I'll not go into details because I've talked about this before. But the kind of the things that will give you, in a short way, the things that will give you sexually transmitted infections are like something like Trichomonas vaginalis. This is something like an amoeba that swims around somebody. It makes very, very itchy. The discharge is yellow-gray. It can even become green. It is frothy, like I suppose like Tasca. When you pour Tasca onto a glass, it's frothy like that sometimes. And there can be quite a bit of gas coming from the vagina. It is foul smelling. It's a bad smelling discharge. And then it causes quite a bit of discomfort as one is passing urine, and it's very, very uncomfortable when having sex with the Trichomonas present. So, but fortunately, it's easy to diagnose if one is suspicious, and it can be very, very easily treated. The other ones that we abnormal sexually transmitted issues are things like gonorrhea and chlamydia. These produce pus. You know, Mahira, pus. In Kikuyu, that word is not a very nice word. But that's what gonorrhea produces and what chlamydia produces, and it can be very, very nasty indeed. The unfortunate thing is sometimes, even with gonorrhea and with chlamydia, there is no discharge. So a woman can stay with it without knowing that they actually have an infection, because the outward sign is not showing any discharge. And all they are feeling is pain in the pelvis. And this is when the infection has gone way up into the uterus. But if there happens to be a discharge, then the discharge will be pus. It will be yellow. It will be smelling very, very bad indeed. It will be like pus. Now, all these discharges, how do we diagnose them? We talked about the normal ones, and even if it's a normal discharge, if you feel that there is some abnormality about your discharge, it is good to go and have it checked, and you are told it is normal, instead of deciding it is normal. So although I have told you what the normal discharges are like, and you will get those, if you ever feel like this is not the usual one, kindly go and see a doctor. And how do we diagnose this? We take a swab of the discharge, and then we send it to the laboratory for two things. One is to look at the microscope and see what things like trichomonas are very easily seen under the microscope. They are swimming in there. And then after inspecting, looking, then it is done what is called culture. And culture means that we grow whatever it is, and finally we get to know the reason as to why the discharge is there. And then your doctor will treat you accordingly. They will treat you what is the cause of the problem. They will deal with it. But like I said, again, if you feel it, I've talked about normal discharges, and you're supposed to be having a discharge. But if you ever feel that it's abnormal, please consult your doctor. Now, so the discharge will be, if it's an abnormal discharge, it will be treated according to what the cause is. Now, some special cases that I need to talk about, and one of the special cases is men. Men don't have a vagina, they have a urethra. The only thing allowed to come through a man's urethra is either semen or urine. If it's not any of those two things, if it's another sort of discharge, men, kindly go and see your doctor and get yourself checked what that discharge is. You are allowed to have urine through your urethra, and you are allowed to have semen out, nothing else. Those are men's special things. Now, let's talk about who other people get discharges. I don't know if any of you has ever had a daughter, delivered a little girl, and 3 days after delivery or 5 days after delivery, you find that they're having a discharge. They can have a discharge. In fact, they get a discharge sometimes that is clear, sometimes stretched like ovulation mucus, and sometimes they'll even have a period, real blood for about a real period for about 3 days. And that's the reason is that their reproductive system has been exposed to the mother's estrogen. When they were inside the uterus, the mother had plenty of estrogen, and the baby girl has picked the estrogen in their system, and now they have been born and they are no longer in touch with the estrogen. So when their estrogen level falls, then their uteruses will discharge and can even bleed. And this is not a bad thing. It tells you that your daughter is got a uterus that will be effective finally when the need comes. Now, the other people, that special ones that we'll talk about, are those people who haven't yet reached menopause. And a number of girls before, sorry, not menopause, puberty, those ones who have not yet reached puberty, girl children who haven't reached puberty, and boy children also. I've seen boys who, actually young boys who had gonorrhea because bad people slept with them with gonorrhea. So I've seen that. So young girls, if there's any discharge, for the young girls, then the most likely thing is that they have put a foreign body. I've removed even beans from the inside the vaginas. Unfortunately, those ones we have to go to theater to check what is causing this discharge. We will take a swab, culture it, and sometimes find nothing special, and we treat it, and the discharge is not disappearing. So we have to go to theater and look. And sometimes I've found quite a few beans, a lot of tissues have been put there, and a lot of little cloths. It's so if you see a young girl having a discharge before puberty, that is not normal. Kindly take them to be checked. And the other thing that would cause a young girl to have a discharge is material from the fecal area, from the anal area, fecal material that is being pulled towards the front and enters the vagina, and that way they have a discharge. Fortunately, that one, once we take a swab and we find it is fecal material, and we teach them how to clean themselves, wiping backwards, then we treat, and usually that problem is over. So again, those of us with daughters, young daughters, teach them to clean themselves, starting forwards, backwards, and not to use the same tissue again. So kindly be generous with tissue. Let a girl wipe herself front backwards and throw that tissue, and then take another one and wipe themselves front backwards when it is their wiping stool. And when it is that they are doing urine, they just take and dab part their vulva and leave it like that, not to try to clean inside. And when it is poo, then they must clean forwards, backwards, starting from forwards, backwards, and not to take the same tissue forwards again. it's very easy for a girl to squat forwards and clean from the front and bring forwards, but please teach them that they need to clean themselves backwards. This fecal material can, even at that very, very early age, cause an infection that would climb up the uterus and even go and damage the tubes before even a girl has reached puberty. So kindly teach them to wipe themselves and get to be friends with your girls, so that if they have a discharge, they will be able to let you know and not to hide it from you. The other special people that if they get a discharge is the postmenopausal women. Now, at menopause, the vagina and the cervix become very thin. Their walls become not able to produce a lot of discharge, a lot of liquid. So a postmenopausal woman should not, and I repeat, should not be having a discharge. Now, if you are postmenopausal, that is, you have not seen your period for 2 years, and you are the age that should reach menopause, kindly, if you get a discharge, go and see your doctor. It could be an infection. It could be that you have a small polyp, which is not of very much significance. Or it could be that there's a malignancy, there's a cancer starting inside you. So if you are postmenopausal, even if it is just discharge without blood, if it comes, kindly go and see your doctor and they check out what the cause of the discharge is. So I think it wasn't a long topic today. It was about discharges, normality, and slight abnormalities. Like I said, I don't usually say how to treat anything on this forum. I expect that when you have a problem, you would go and consult with your doctor, not go and buy medicine over the counter. That is not the right way to go about it. So I'll call my tech guy, and then we shall see if there are any questions so far. Thank you, and ask questions. Tech guy. You are there? Okay, tech guy is coming to look for questions. I told you without her, at least now I can't even find questions, but she is teach me. And it's very hard to teach somebody my age these things, but she'll teach me and I'll learn. I'm determined to learn. So I'll learn. But it is hard. It is hard. Yeah. So that was discharges. Any questions?
No, just hellos.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Hello. That's it. Good. No questions. Okay. Okay.
I think we say bye.
Yeah, we say bye. There are no even questions from last week. Eh? Bye bye. See you. Bye bye.
Let me see those questions.
No, it's okay. We will, if there is, we'll answer it next week.
Okay.
So bye bye, and enjoy yourselves. And remember not to wear panty liners unless you must.